talk about it knowing now the impact that it's made, but my store flooded. You and I were out in the Ironwood Country Club, Mr. and Mrs. Ironwood golf tournament on our third hole. My store manager was calling me frantically, and I'm like, I'm on a golf tournament. I trust you to handle it. And she said, I'm sorry to tell you this, your store is flooded.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. This is your first time here. You have just reached the best damn podcast you've ever seen or heard before in your life. We are known as Old Guys Still Rock, better yet as OGSR. And we are on episode number 165 today. Is that right, the man in the box? That is right. So
yeah, I think you said 165 last week, and it was 164, and April corrected me. Yeah.
So sooner or later, we're going to catch up to 165. So today's going to be 165. And that's why, when we are organic as we are, that's what sometimes we just get messed up on numbers for a little bit. But the great thing about this is, I had said something last week about it is why it was so monumental to be in episode number 165. Not many podcasts make it after the episode number 5. And the second thing is we're not on this podcast platform where we have advertisers and sponsors and all this stuff. We have grown our audience, grassroots, organic. So if this is your first time here, what I'm asking you to do right now is hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. So when we do put out new episodes, you automatically get it. And you're like, if you're stumbling across this, you're like, who are these guys? Who's Old Guys Still Rock? Well, we have 164 episodes on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. Go back and check us out. And we hope that you become a subscriber. We hope you follow us. Most of all, we hope that you share the show because that's how we get better. So I'm a global luxury specialist in the world of residential real estate. I'm located in the beautiful, beautiful Coachella Valley. And then on my left, possibly your right, depending on who is editing this, is a good friend of mine and the host of this show, Brent Wright of Brent Wright Incorporated, located in beautiful, beautiful Eugene, Oregon. We have so much to cover today. Before we get too deep into this, I'm going to say, hey, man, how are you doing? There's a little lady right next to me. We're going to introduce her shortly. But what's going on in your world, Mr. Brent Wright?
All the things summer. So the days have started getting shorter, and it's putting pressure on to get all of my summer activities done. Yet my wife still keeps wanting to push me inside to get the inside done. But yet I have a plethora of outside projects to complete. So I'm feeling a little bit of pressure.
It's amazing. All right, man. Well, days go by quickly. I just saw something on Facebook. It's been 10 years since I've been back to this one spot, and I can't believe how fast 10 years gone by. So it's amazing. So anyway, we have a returning guest to my left, possibly your right, depending on how it comes into your screen. But to my left is a good friend of mine, my best friend, and my wife, Chrissy Armstrong. So welcome back. What is going on with you? How is your world?
Thank you for welcoming back. It's been a while since I've been here. So thanks for having me, and lots going on. Lots. Yeah. Professionally and personally. There's always things going on, which is a blessing, right?
Right.
Better than the alternative.
So we were checking records last time. It's been about April 14th, April 15th of 2025 since you have been back here. One thing that we didn't discuss that just happened to you just a couple weeks before that last episode, you had a pretty major event inside your retail store, Chrissy's on El Paseo. You want to share with us what happened and kind of like the ripple effect of not only how it set you back for that fiscal year, but how you got through it?
Well, I'm still not through it, but about 1 month prior to me being on, it's kind of crazy that we didn't talk about it, knowing now the impact that it's made, but my store flooded. You and I were out in the Ironwood Country Club, Mr. and Mrs. Ironwood golf tournament on our third hole. My store manager was calling me frantically, and I'm like, I'm on a golf tournament. I trust you to handle it. And she said, I'm sorry to tell you this, your store is flooded and we're underwater. We got the flood fixed. Most of the store was closed down for the 2 busiest weeks of the entire year. I try not to talk about it very much. I actually ran into a friend a couple months ago, and a woman I was speaking to said, have you recovered from the flood, blah, blah, blah. And I saw the friend that passed by later, and she said, oh, it looked like you were in in-depth conversation. I said, oh, no, she just asked me about the flood. She goes, you're still talking about that?
Mm.
And it literally swept me off my feet because I thought, okay, don't talk about it because it's not a positive and people are down here in the desert and they want it to be their happy place, but this is still my life and my livelihood. And every single day since about June of last year, I could easily shut down my business, close the doors. It's been a challenge and it's still a challenge. I got a couple loans at ridiculous interest rates and getting through it with my team, with my vendors, with manufacturers, with you. I mean, literally, it's only because of you, your support, financially, emotionally, spiritually, that I'm still open. I've asked God every single day because every single day I do, I'm like, oh, shut it down. Like, show me a sign that I'm still supposed to be here. And he shows it to me every day. Because I swear, if he even gave me this much of, yeah, shut it down, do something else, I'd probably do it.
So we talk about this a lot in our episode, and you've watched a lot of our stuff. This we always have these burning down the boats, burning the bridge down, just kind of being down with it. Just like, is it really worth it at the end of the day? What has and so when you're sharing this story, because I think there's a lot of people that can relate to you of just having some really bad days. It could have been a flood, could be a fire, it could just be stolen merchandise, whatever, and it just keeps piling up a little bit. What are some of the things, and this again speaking to the people that who not only follow you, other business owners, people that may be going through the same thing? What are some of the things that kind of kept you going? Because you're right. I mean, every day it was just something else. It was a flood, and it was finding out that about insurance coverage, and it was something else, and it was something else. You kept compiling, and you're like, you look, and maybe this is, you look up like, why is this happening? So what did you do mentally to kind of keep going, to kind of keep fighting?
What has kept me going, a lot of it, besides obviously my faith and trusting in God, that the choice is my team and my customers. And I don't even like calling them a team. I like calling them a family because they truly are a family. But they pulled themselves up, rolled up their sleeves, their pants, got on their galoshes and helped get it dry. And then the customers and the clients, so caring, so loving, so supportive, coming in just to show their support and love and that they don't want us to go away.
Well, it's just one of those things when you, every day that you have this catastrophic moment, maybe we answered it in different words, but just in the aspect of like, when is enough? I mean, I feel like I'm just
I don't know. I haven't hit that point yet.
That's good.
I haven't hit it. And when enough is enough, I'll either know that it's time to turn the keys in, or when enough is enough and you need to dig deeper. I have been in corporate America since I was 22 years old.
Right.
Way, shape, form, a few different industries, but I've never failed in business. I never have failed in business. I mean, there's been some areas where I've needed improvement, but I've never failed them and like had to walk away. And I'm not going to do it now. And if I do hang it up and if I do turn in the keys, it's not because I failed, it's because another opportunity presents itself, or this just isn't the path that God has chosen for me. That being said, I just signed a new 5-year lease. And I'm taking over the suite in front of me, and I moved the kids' store over, so we're all under one roof. So I know that I'm, at this point, committed to another 5 years.
Yeah. Well, that's, I mean, I think that's a big thing too, right? Is when you like, you're trusting in your faith, you're trusting your relationship with God. And it seems over the last couple of weeks that we've really been honing into is faith and having that relationship with God. And so here you are, you just have this, to me, it was a catastrophic, yes, in so many different ways, but it was a catastrophic where we had to close up doors, fighting. And then,
but I did close up my doors.
Well, you did, but I'm just saying for forever and ever and ever.
Oh, no.
But, and then the next part of it is that, okay, then there's another opportunity to basically be storefront of El Paseo shopping district and stuff like that. Woo! This is a great opportunity. Is this the right time? And you're trusting him. Some things have kind of come to fruition, I think, a little bit to kind of help you through this process. Or is it just, are you going blind faith? This is where he has me. Let's go.
Yes and yes. The opportunities presented itself because not only was I given the opportunity to move forward and be on El Paseo proper. So for those of you that don't know, expanded my space, but I'm not on the main street where the foot traffic is. I'm about 20 feet back, and that 20 feet has made a huge difference, not in the positive. So with the opportunity of taking over the suite in front of me, cutting through a wall, so we're all under one location. I also, it came at the timing when the kids store lease was up. So I turned in the keys for the kids store location, moved the kids store underneath within the women's store, and then with that expanded out front the women's store. So everybody's like, you're just taking over the block, you're taking over this whole corner. It's like, well, in actuality, I'm condensing, I'm lowering my overhead, and I'm having everything. So although it is expansion of the women's store, it's expansion because we got the kids over. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I know it. I know the language and the location, so it makes sense to me. But
it's great, right? I think that's great that you have everything on one roof and you have more of a capture rate for the way that I see it, and what you see, your capture rate is better for your retail, and fighting with all these big box stores and different things. You're this small special boutique with have some great items that not a lot of other people have. Now you got the best of the kids world. Now you got the best of the women's world, all the one roof, and it's just it's a better capture rate. So, Brett, I know
don't forget the gifts.
Brett, I know you're dying to ask some questions here, brother. What do you got for us right now, brother?
Bring it on, Brent.
Well, I think it's ironic that you had a flood in the desert.
And it was 100% preventable.
It always is. So I don't know if you remember, but we had a flood right after we got the wellness center set up, and we hadn't even done our grand opening yet. And we had 4 inches of water. We opened the front door and 4 inches of water came at us. And so that was a little bit, we definitely understand that. My biggest question after seeing all of the notes for this episode was, what made you decide to go brick and mortar from your previous business model that you purchased?
Well, obviously it was a decision, but it wasn't a decision. After Blair and I got married, we bought his parents' business, which was the jewelry store out at the College of the Desert Street Fair that had been very well-known, most popular booth at the street fair, 22 years, extremely successful business. The business model was amazing. The profitability standpoint was incredible. So when they said, would you like to buy the business? I mean, I could not write a check fast enough. Yes, absolutely. Here's your deposit. Let's go. And we did that for 2 years. And then COVID hit. And we were on College of the Desert campus. And when COVID hit, schools got shut down before retail got shut down. So actually, when we were at College of the Desert with the jewelry business, we got shut down and El Paseo was still open. They didn't get closed down for 3 more weeks. And we thought that for sure we'd be going back to the street fair as soon as they lifted the regulations. And nationally, they did lift the regulations. And from state aspect, it was an outdoor market and we could open. But the college said, nope, we're not going to open until the school can open. You could do a whole podcast on my feelings behind that, because that was the management team just still getting paid, but hundreds of vendors that were there weren't able to get paid because they wouldn't allow us to reopen, even though it was okay to reopen. And so I had so many customers reaching out to me. We're in the desert. We want to shop with you. So I set up our entire downstairs and basically like a street fair. And we had jewelry from the front door all the way to the back, and constantly had customers coming over and shopping. And I remember one day Blair said to me, are we ever going to see the dining room table again? And I thought, oh gosh, I do need to probably take this elsewhere, because there are no signs that the street fair is going to open back up. So we got shut down in February of 2020. And I found a little tiny location on El Paseo in August of 2020. So I opened up the first location there. So again, was it a choice? Yes, absolutely. Everything's a choice, but it was a forced choice. I had to do one of the most overused words of COVID. I had to pivot. So that's when Blair went directly into full-time real estate, and I opened my first location on El Paseo. And it originally started out as just jewelry and gifts, and I brought in one clothing line, and then another friend who got shut down at the street fair, I brought in her clothing line to try and help her out. And then from there, moved, and did a flip-flop, and brought in somebody that said, you need to bring in more clothing. Went from having 95% jewelry and gifts to 95% clothing with jewelry, accessories, and gifts. About 90. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah.
Sorry if that was
So
long-winded, but yeah, not a choice.
The
Not a
one
choice.
thing that is sticking out in all these notes and all the discussions, and even in our prior podcast with you, is the massive amount of adaptability that's needed in your industry. I mean, one day you're on top, the next day you're on the bottom. You know, you see those memes and the reels out there. It's, you know, being an entrepreneur is like trying to convince the government I made negative 200,000 while trying to convince my banker that I made 250,000.
That is so true. Retail 101 right there.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And I mean, one day you're 50 grand up and the next day you get a load of stuff in and you're 50 grand down, right? So
Every single day.
yeah.
Yeah, it is incredible. The adaptability is there. Thankfully, I do have that as one of my personality traits and characteristics, that I am very flexible and adaptable.
Well, you have
I've
to
done
be
everything.
adaptable. You've chosen to marry this guy, so.
Yes, I have to be very flexible, for sure.
Change right now.
Exactly. Yeah. No, adaptability is a huge part of it. Absolutely, 1000%. I mean, before we bought the business, I had been in the wine and spirits industry for 13 years and, you know, loved that life, and it was fantastic. So went from that to retail.
Did you bring some of that into your space?
Absolutely. I mean, I didn't bring wine and spirits into my space, but I brought some of my knowledge and my experience from it into my space. It's kind of funny that you say that, Brent, because I do look back, and I look back to all of the jobs I've had, even selling pumpkins at Pumpkin Cities Pumpkin Farm. I have looked back on every single one of my positions, and now that I'm an entrepreneur and my own boss, if you will, although my team kind of bosses me around, I look back and I think, oh, God, that's why you had me do that. That's why I learned that. And there's just little nuggets from every job that I've had. A flight attendant was a big learning experience for me into this capacity. It actually lent itself a lot to what I'm doing now.
I think the one thing that would be hard for me to live there would be having dinner at 3:30.
The blue light special is
Brent
real.
knows not to call me at 5 o'clock because I mean,
Right? I know.
and being a woman in this entrepreneurial space, being a boutique business on a very world-known El Paseo, right? It's kind of like the baby of Rodeo Drive, and they're starting to build it up, and you're seeing some big box stores coming in, and the competition is getting a little bit more fierce on different things. What are some of the things not only are you doing for yourself, but helping your team to stay motivated on the dark days and just persevering through the light to, you know, kind of get through the light days?
Well, I mean, I'm in the middle of the dark days. I'm closed.
Right.
You know, nobody's out shopping when it's 115 degrees out. So thankfully, there's always something to do. You know, you see me every night I come home covered in paint because we're
Right.
painting and doing construction. And as an entrepreneur, you are security, IT, the janitor, the plumber, the electrician. Well, no, I have to somebody do the electrician, but so during the dark days, we try and keep these going. But yeah, no, it is hard. We do a year's worth of business in 5 months. So those other 7 months are challenging because we are a family. And I do say that. And the girls in Palm,
Right.
we all call each other family. You know, we just got together on Monday. Everybody came in and had a jewelry line come in. So had the whole team in and took everybody to lunch, you know, whatever we can do to keep everybody together and motivated during the challenging times where it's slow and we're not there every day, because we do miss each other during the summer
Right.
when we're not there. And then on the flip side of that, what do we do to keep motivated from a fiscal standpoint? Not a whole heck of a lot. Not a lot you can do. Right now the checks are going out and nothing is coming
Right.
in. So you try and balance it as well as you can, knowing that the end of October is right around the corner, and trying to just get going until then. Just another challenge, but exciting and fun. And these are the months that people always say, oh, well, you're close to that month, so, oh, you get to take vacations. Like, no, that's actually, you know, I'm working 12, 14-hour days every day trying to get the store ready to be open again.
Do you feel, or have you heard feedback from this, and that your employees look to you kind of for that motivation during the dark days? Actually, I have multiple questions, so I'm just going to stay with one. So,
you.
yeah, I'm learning how to do this podcast stuff. Anyway, but those days, right, like right now, right, it's hard. Maybe hours are a little bit slim for a lot of people, if hours at all. How are you, not only you staying motivated, but helping to motivate others to just kind of stay with it? What are some of the things that you're doing to not only help yourself, but help the others?
And others that No, everybody is laid off right now. It's challenging as a business owner in the desert, knowing that you have to lay off all of your employees because you don't have any income coming in. That we know we try to plan better, knowing that this is coming. And my team family is incredible. They'll come to me and say, "Why don't you go ahead and lay me off now? Let other people work. I've got some things that I can do. I've got some vacations I can go on." So that really helps out. Oh, and something else that I within the last question you asked, like within being on El Paseo and the big box stores coming in and everything. That's something I didn't touch on. That's a really good point because we do have a lot of the big box stores that have come in. Couple big furniture stores, which we do need here in the desert, Restoration Hardwares and such. Free People, a lot of big ones are coming in, but it still does have that boutique feel. El Paseo's gone through many transitions and transformations over the years. Obviously, the property managers need to make money and they need to charge what they can in rent, but I work, or at least from, I feel, the best property managers, Chartwell Properties, shout out to you. Absolutely love them. They do a lovely job of balancing. Yes, they are renting to Restoration Hardware, but they are also bringing in the smaller boutique stores to really keep the look and feel of El Paseo going. And one of my favorite quotes, and I truly do believe it, that a rising tide lifts all ships. So if somebody can't find something for me in my store, my first thing is to recommend them to the other small boutiques on the street. I want everybody to do well because the more people that come to El Paseo, regardless of what store it is, they may wander into my store and vice versa. So I think that's really important.
So I got a big question for you. This is a good one,
I already said yes, I married you.
So the thing that, this is on our notes stuff, obviously with the interview with Mr. Jackson the other day.
A free interview.
Or some stuff like this. A lot of stuff has been learned, as you said, but learned through the wine industry, being a flight attendant, excuse me. Is that what they still call them, flight attendant?
Yes, you can say stewardess. I don't get offended by that.
Flight attendants. So many different things that you have learned over the course of time. But if you had to pick as of right now, or maybe even the course of your career and school and stuff like that, who has been one of your biggest mentors?
My dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, hands down. Yeah, my dad is. He worked hard playing football and basketball and went into the NFL as a love for the game. They did not make money. He actually had to quit and get a job at a bank because I came along and now he had to support 2 kids. So the work ethic just to get into the NFL, even during those times, that's pretty huge.
Right.
And he carried that work ethic over to his lifelong corporate career. He was in big pharma and did big things there, went through a few different companies and continued to grow and retired with the right company after building a sales team. I want to say when he started, there was 8 people. I don't know, after probably 350. And anytime I needed any help, guidance, thought process, what am I doing? I'd go to my dad. Yeah.
Do you find that yourself today that you can look back on his wisdom and his mentorship during the during the hard times to kind of get you through, or there's some little golden nuggets that you may not use and something triggers and you can kind of hear his voice do this? You still hear it to this day.
Now that you say that. Yeah. And absolutely, what would my dad do? And he's still with us, so
Right.
I can still ask and talk to him about it and you get some good guidance. It's funny because I need to preface this that my mom is my biggest cheerleader, but
Right.
I decided to, when I left the IT world right before the tech bust,
Right.
I left literally 45 days before the tech bust. And I told my mom that I was going to be leaving the industry and going to do something else. And she was a nervous wreck, as moms can get. They tend to worry. And I told my dad, and he was like, great, good. My dad was always encouraging me to do that next thing and the next job. And my mom would be worried.
Right.
And then she's like, gosh, but you do it every time. You don't do it.
Yeah. So that's great. I mean, because, so many, we talk about business so much on this podcast and stuff like that. Brett and I will talk about, we have mentorships with Ed Milet, Andy Frisella, and different things. And like how incredibly special that is. Like your biggest mentor is your dad and how he's helped you. And like little things, as I said, is little things that you would go through during the day or maybe a week or some of your And this is something that triggers when it's like, oh yeah, I remember when he said this, and now it's coming to fruition. So I love that, and I love that you share that with you. So, Brent, any questions for you, brother?
So this one's going to get a little personal.
Okay.
With the season changing with your dad, how is that affecting you? And in light of the fact that you had a medical issue as well, how did that affect business? How did that affect you guys personally? How did that affect you guys together?
Yeah, so I went through my thing. It's just been 2 years. I had sepsis and I was in and out of the hospital for a month and had a PICC line. And there were a couple days where I thought, I think we're getting close to the end of this life on earth. I made it through, thank God. It was really powerful for my relationship with you, Blair. You know, you were there for me. I remember because not only was I had sepsis, but I was on massive pain medication and trying to figure out how to administer this PICC line. And, you know, it's a multi-step process. I know it's easy for nurses, but I don't speak nurse, and just doing everything and the fleshing and everything. And Blair was there every step of the way to do it. My team was there to take over because my first stint in the hospital, I wasn't even in town. So that was hard. I was in a hospital over in Temecula for 8 days by myself. So that was really challenging to be there, but got to be good friends with some of the nurses. So that was fun. And so that was challenging, but rewarding. And, you know, sometimes when things like that happen, life is even more precious in your eyes. And our relationship grew very much during that time. Realize what's very important to you and what's authentic in your life. And then with my dad, it's been a challenge for a couple years. In November, he fell and fractured his femur. And that really took its toll. He'll never walk without a walker again. But thank God they didn't have to do surgery, but as a result of that fracture, he got sepsis a couple times. And he was basically in the hospital or rehab center for 3 months. And so I would stay at the hospital 3, 4, 5 nights a week for the first or the rehab center for the first 2 times. And then on the last time, my mom stayed more. And then I helped out, but it was just really important for me. And he's home. My parents are both alive and well, but this just happened.
My point with this question is
To make me cry?
No, actually, I knew you were going to cry. That was that was a given. But more importantly is to kind of bridge the gap for people that business is personal and personal is business, right? There's no defining line. And it changes the game when you're an entrepreneur and you have personal things that you need to deal with, like in the middle of the day and all those things. Like it just becomes this bigger juggling scenario on a regular basis. It's not just, I got to go sign a check and I'm the boss. It's, I got to deal with all these things and I got to deal with all these personal things. And it's a bigger juggle. And so the dark days get darker, the shinier days get shinier, right? But those days can turn at a moment's notice. And for people to understand that entrepreneurship is like drinking a Red Bull to relax. We talk about that all the time, right? And so, and you know, I want people to understand that if you decide, so I do business coaching, we don't know that, but I get people sometimes when they're just in the beginning stages and they're trying to decide if they're going to go into business. It's not for the faint of heart.
It is not. You hit the nail on the head. It is not for the faint of heart. And, you know, within the entrepreneurial community, you know, I don't know if your algorithm's like mine, but you get a lot of that. And, you know, the ongoing joke is, oh yeah, I went into business for myself so I could have some more time, and you have 1/10 the amount of time. You know, it's not 24 hours a day, it's 30 hours a day, and there's not 7 days in the week. There are about 14 days in the week. And you eat, breathe, and sleep it if you want to make a go out of it and be successful. And before Blair and I bought his parents' business, Blair's ex-wife and dear friend, Stacy, she owns a salon. And I called her and I said, should I do this? You know, you're an entrepreneur, this is me, an entrepreneur in a different space, but same kind of thing. And she's like, it's not going to be easy. And having employees is the hardest part of it. It's also the best part, but it's also the hardest part. So yeah, if anybody wants to try their hand in entrepreneurship, give me a call. I've had people say, I think I want to open my boutique and my own boutique. And I'm like, don't do it. They're like, what? I thought you love it. I go, I do love it. Don't do it. If you want some free time.
What do you think the biggest challenge for you right now is a small entrepreneur boutique business owner? I'm going to take out the one spot because I just don't think I think there's different things that people are stronger and not stronger in, and that's where your strength is in this business of what you're doing of helping women. So what if someone is looking in their business, maybe they're struggling right now, and again, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman in this. If someone's struggling right now, what are some of the things that are keeping you going? Not to burn the boat, not to burn the bridge. It's like, what Brent and I talked about. Is there one more day in you every day? Or is it just something like some days I have to tell myself, some days I'm just going to write it out?
Being in the desert has its own set of challenges. So in season, you don't have time to think about one more day because you're so busy. And then during the off season, when right now, when we're closed down and the doors are shut and money's going out, not coming in, the challenges there are different. I just, in my brain, I go back to, I've never failed in business and this isn't going to be where I start. Now, if something happens, I mean, if I had another catastrophic event, I don't think I could survive that. I don't think my business, I could survive it. I don't think my business could survive it. And that would mean that I need to pivot again. But I don't like failure.
No.
That's why I waited until I was 47 to get married. I did not want to fail at it. I did not want to fail at marriage. So it's the same kind of like, no, failure is not an option. So I have to dig down every day. And you, my family, my parents, my team, and my friends keep me going every single day. You know, my dear friend Cindy, she came in yesterday and she did a full modeling shoot for us. I mean, she's absolutely, her job isn't modeling, not Shannon, but, Cindy came in, she's like, oh, I'd love to help you. This is after last week, she came in and painted my dressing rooms for me. That's the kind of things that friends do that, like, oh my gosh, I can't give up when I have these people who are willing to come in and help me, And Shelley Farmery, she tells me all the time, I'll be there to move clothes and do whatever I can do. I'm surrounded by some pretty amazing people. And then I have dear friends like Yoli, who's a therapist and a friend who helps me get through some of the dark days. And I'll text her, I'm like, hey, what do you think of this? Be my therapist.
In this world that we get beat up with social media and different things and questions on some different things, maybe there is an assumption of who people think you are. Then I see this different side of what you do. And I feel like there is, when people get around you, there is a pull to you. There's something that you give that pulls people in and want to be the best of friends with you. What do you think? Have you ever really analyzed that? And if you haven't, what do you think that it is that people are attracted to you? Because the way that I see it from the outside, people flock to you, and I am basically Chrissy's husband. I do not own a business. Even though that you see this, I am just Chrissy's husband. But there's that person, that personality that you have. Do you realize what you have? Have you honed into it, or is it just something that exudes from you?
Tell me anything. Ask me this question. So my young that when I walk into a room, even though I'm only 5'4" and whatever, she said that people tended to gravitate towards me. And always kids as well. And for the most part, animals. And hi, this is a tough one. Talking about myself. So, but I'm horrifically have social anxiety and I'm an introvert extrovert, but I also love people. And I gravitate towards people and I gravitate towards people's energy. And so maybe turn that around, maybe people gravitate towards my energy. I try to be a very authentic person. My happiness is genuine. try to be as kind and gracious and loving as I can and have fun. I'm not always perfect at it. I've made mistakes. I've had seasons of friends come and go, but what you see is what you get.
I've heard this, and Brent, you can fill in this in too, because I think everybody that's on this show right now, or everyone you can see and hear me, obviously what Chrissy just said on here, but also on the same sense of what Brent is that we're all introverts. And what I'm finding out is I think that when people meet us, and maybe you can, carry on this, and Brent, you might have some stuff on this as well. But when you meet an introvert, I think people find comfort in that because it's not so over the top. We're a little bit more reserved. We're a little bit more. I'm finding out more and more as my years go by is that there is not only comfort in that, but there's some safe stability in that they can feel like they can share because we're more intent on having that relationship with them. And there's questions. We may be leaning in a little bit more. We're not looking around to find out who's next. So I think that's what a lot about it is like, which I tell people this all the time, and I've told you this when the dark days when you're getting your ass kicked, right? And it just happens to all of us, but when you're getting your ass kicked, there is a presence around you like God has you here. And people are drawn to that because they do feel safe. We have friends that want to pull us in or invite us into places because I would never do this, but because of our friendship, I feel comfortable with you. So I think that's a great trait. I think that for those guys that are introverts, and the reason why I'm saying this, and I'm finding out, again, as I said, I'm repeating myself, but as I'm finding out more about this, it's the use the introvertness a lot to kind of stay away from things, shy away from, I don't want to go here, it's not my cup of tea. But realistically, the more that I find out about it, is God has given a gift of introvertness so we can pull others closer to Him. So that's what I feel. So I see that for you. You and I both have social anxiety walking in the room. We just want to stand in the corner until someone comes to us. But
No, you want to stand in the corner. I don't even want to walk through the door.
So, Brandon, there's something like those. I mean, with you and I have been friends for, gosh, for 30 plus years now. When you have you really understood your introvertness and in your business and stuff like that?
Yeah, so for me, business overshadows that oftentimes. You pulled me into BNI. In BNI, you have to go to all these events and do all the things and have the one-to-ones and all that stuff. I parse that out. I schedule my time and then I schedule business time. And I know I need a balance of that. And so here's a question for you, Chrissy. What do you do when you run out of energy, but you still have stuff to do?
Well, that's kind of been my role for the last 3 weeks straight. Well, I mean, 2 nights ago, it was 4:30, I was exhausted. I'm like, oh, I could go home and have a glass of wine and sit on the sofa. I was like, but that just leaves more for me to do tomorrow. And so I just reach down low and deep and be like, okay, come on. You can lift one more weight, you can golf one more hole, you can play one more match in tennis, just one more game in pickleball. When it comes to business, you have to have that same mindset and be like, okay, I can paint one more wall as it was the other night. So instead of coming home at 4:30, I came home at 7:30 at night, and ended up being a 13-hour day. But that's what you have to do, especially as an entrepreneur. There is nobody else going to do it for you. I was telling my trainer yesterday, I said, I'm going to go paint. You can hire somebody for that. I go, I'm not going to hire somebody to do what I can do. I'm like, if I sat there and watched somebody paint, I'd just be thinking, oh, I could do that. Why? No, I can hire somebody to do the electrical work. That's what I don't know how to do. I get electrocuted immediately. So it's just really just digging down deeper. And if I may go back to the introvert conversation, I think that, yes, being introverted is a blessing, but I also think that there has to be those scenarios where we're aware that we do need to put ourselves out there. We do need to make sure that we are going to things to support other people. And even if that means having a dinner with a friend, because we do need to do that. Yes, being in our comfort at home is one thing, but growing is not comfort. It's uncomfortable to grow. It's and you have to put yourself in uncomfortable positions to grow internally as people. I mean, you and I have come so far in the almost 10 years that we've been members of Ironwood. We used to go up to the club once every few weeks now and comfortable at it. And I think that there's also, if I made just one more thing, I heard something yesterday. I was listening to a podcast and it was talking about being authentic, which I think kind of ties into that.
Absolutely.
Being authentic, people say, oh, it's easy to be authentic. No, I actually think, and I'm taking this from Dr. Romney, who I was listening to, being authentic is really hard. It's easier just to be, oh, hi and happy and everything. But if you're authentic and you're being true to yourself, authentic people tend to get the rap of being cold, because being authentic also means that you're setting boundaries. And that's something that I learned this year, is setting boundaries with things that are not good for you, and that could mean people. And why are you doing that? Life is short. They're your family. They're your friend. Get over it. You're a Christian. Aren't you supposed to be forgiving? Yes, but you can also set boundaries, and that is being authentic. You can still be kind and gracious. I'm not saying set a boundary, be a bitch. No, it's you're setting a boundary with what does not serve you in a healthy manner.
Yeah. I think that is really big right there too, because I mean, people ask for it, think they should have it, but they don't give it. And so learning to do that, and I think that I love that you said that, because we're later on in life, and it's something that we've been working for. It's a constant journey. How do I become more authentic? How do I become more intimate in my relationships, not only with my husband, my family, but my friends as well? So you have that. And I love that you said that. It is okay to have boundaries. You don't have to be a Yahoo. You don't have to be an a-hole. You don't have to be a bitch. You don't have to be a whatever. You can say whatever you want on this. But I'm saying is set those in there. If that is not something, if that's not your standard, if that's not the route that you want to go into, it's okay not to be in that group. And if someone talks about you, realistically, that's on them. That's the waste of their energy. That's their time. And and to me, when I hear other people talking about other people or trying to make themselves look better by talking to other people, that's a massive void in their soul. And they're trying to fill their void with somebody else's pain, which is really just amazingly messed up. So we're going off in a wayside tangent on here, but so going back to those, I want to go back to this, Brett. Before I go back to this questions, any questions with you?
No, I think I'm good. I'm just enjoying this.
Okay. You get to listen today, man. I love this.
Yeah.
So he usually, if you guys are the first time here, all I says Brennan is usually the Yoda. Lots of wisdom in here. So if you guys have said, we usually say this at the beginning of the episode, but if you're looking for a business coach or a personal coach, definitely go check out our other episodes, really find out why I say that. So it's awesome. But going back into this, and I think you touched on this in the last episode. I think you were on episode either 97 or 98, the last time that you were on here. Again, we are on episode 165. So your employees, and you keep calling them family. What was your mindset to switch from that world of corporate America where you called employees, where you were just a number, where you were just a thing? What made you say, you know what? I'm going to flip the script in this. I'm going to change the culture. This is the way our culture is going to be. Not only is it going to spill into my employees, but hopefully spill into my experience when you walk into my store.
Yeah, so in corporate America, I worked for massively male-dominated industries, the tech industry, the wine and spirit industry. And I don't want to say there's glass ceiling because I feel like so many of us blew through that. But yeah, I'm very corporate, right? Very corporate, male-dominated. I was very successful. I didn't complain about that. I didn't matter what sex I was. I wanted to do the job I wanted to do. I wanted to get to this level that I wanted to get to. But I wasn't the one establishing the culture. I could establish the culture, what I wanted between myself and my customers. But other than that, I did work for this bigger entity. So when I became an entrepreneur and built my own team, I just knew how I wanted it to run, and I wanted it to be a family. I didn't want it to be something where people were, I didn't want anybody to ever be like, I have to go to work today. And I would say that 99% of the days, my family of people that work at Chrissy's don't feel that way. They get excited about it. Some of my employees don't even need jobs, but they come because they enjoy it. 3 of my employees definitely don't need jobs. They come in for season and they say, "Can I please work there? It's just so fun." They start off as customers. It's just so fun being there. I'd love to come in and be there. And so that's really what I wanted to establish. I wanted to be somewhere fun because if I'm going to be there, I want it somewhere fun. I could easily go back into corporate America and work for somebody else, but if I'm going to do this, I want to have fun doing it, and I want everybody around me to have fun doing it. That's why we serve champagne to everybody who walks through the door. This is a fun experience. So it trickles down from there. So if we're all having fun, the customers are going to have fun. Hey, you want some champagne? There's a man cave with some beer over there for your husband. Well, husbands sit if they want to go to other shops. But just come in and have fun, and we have cute things, and hopefully we find something that fits you. And my team is great. They want everybody to leave with a bag. They say there's something here for everybody, but if somebody doesn't leave with a bag, I'm like, do not get upset. Because those people are going to, as long as they had a good time, they're going to go out and talk about how they had fun at Chrissy's. And they're going to tell somebody they had fun at Chrissy's, and somebody else might come in and buy something because they had fun. And you know what? I've been shopping many times in my life where I have not walked out with a bag, even though I thought I wanted to get something. So I just want to make sure that every single day it's an incredible experience for every single person who walks through that door. And to bring it full circle, they all know. And where my heart is we are there to shine God's light. And yes, we hope we make women feel better. We hope you find something that makes you feel like you look and feel incredible and beautiful or fun or whatever outfit it is. But through all of that, it is shining God's light and just shining it upon the world.
Is there a particular instance that you had with a client or that you feel like you changed their life that really sticks in your mind? Like, oh my God.
Yeah, I have an employee that, oh gosh, here. She is Jewish, but she wants to live every day like a Christian because, in her words, she sees how you and I live and how we love. And she has seen us make mistakes. She has seen us fight. She has seen us, not be perfect. But she knows in our hearts who we want to be and how we want to identify. And she's just like, and she says it. She goes, I'm just trying to be the best Christian I can. She is 100% Jewish, but that's the one that just immediately pops in my word. Sure. If I can take that a step further from a business and professional standpoint, I love supporting other women's small businesses. When I hired Kara, originally she did the website, and then she decided that she wanted to start making jewelry. And I said, well, then set up shop in my store. And now she has her jewelry line and is doing very well. And she's set up at Jake Turner, and she's there 6 days a week and does events and everything. So I loved being able to support her, for her to get her feet under for her and promote her and everything. And then same with Marcy with the Tan Lab. She wanted to do tanning, and she was doing mobile tanning while she was doing my receiving and tagging. And yeah, it's a little self-serving, but I'm like, well, you keep leaving me to go do tans. We want you here. And she's like, but I'm mobile tan. And I'm like, well, there's a room right there in the back of our offices. Let's set that up. She's like, really? And I said, absolutely. So she set up shop for the last about year and a half, 2 years, and grew her tan lab business. And now she has her own spot in a blow dry bar on El Paseo, where she has her own beautiful, with me, it was in the back of an office. But now she has it. She has chandelier. So I helped her grow her business. And she still works for me. She does so much for me still, and I love having her. And I said, you just can't leave us. We love you. Part of this family. She said, I'm never going to leave, but you help me grow my business. I'll do anything for you.
I think there's something that's missing, and Brett and I talk about this a lot, so I'm glad that she kind of said this is right, is when we get these people that come into our lives, and it's so much more than just an employee, right? It's just so much more. Is once you kind of understand your purpose and your role, what God has given you to not only have a great relationship with them, but it's also to help them enhance, maybe opening up a blind spot that they typically have. So what I love that about what you just said is like, okay, I'm going to bring you in. Yes, it brings me a little bit of recognition. It brings me a different aspect of the stuff. But the day is, I want you to grow some wings. And in your mind, you may not be having this conversation with them, but in your mind, you're like, I want to help you, assist you find your wings, and so you can go out big. With us, I tell everybody that comes on our team is I'm going to assist you and help you get to a certain point, but eventually I want you to be better than me.
Absolutely.
And so, and if you don't have, so I love that because there's not a lot of that out anymore. It's come to work for me. I'm going to suppress, I'm going to suppress, I'm going to suppress. Doesn't do anything good for you. Doesn't do anything good for your business. And it definitely doesn't do anything good for somebody because they become basically angry in so many different ways. And so I see that a lot in your shop. And Brent, you can bring this in because you do a lot of this with your coaching too. But I see that a lot in your shop is you're always kind of finding different ways, with people from, we're switching gears. You're switching gears from bookkeeper. You're giving somebody else a different opportunity to do that. That is giving an enhancement. Maybe they would never thought of that before. So you're constantly trying to help. You're assisting. They have to take the reins and take that and use that, but you're assisting and helping them. And so I'm hoping that somehow, some way, maybe the day that you don't see this when we talk about that, is the ripple effect that you're setting now goes on a lot farther than you can ever possibly imagine. So I want to congratulate you on that because of the culture that you do create. You are enhancing people's lives. And I mean, for people to come in and that are definitely do not need a paycheck, but coming in there, that ripple effect is not really just for them, it's for all the customers and clients and the other people that they see will come in for the future. So, Brent, for you?
Yeah, so we're going Joe Rogan-ish here, guys.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wrap up with final thoughts. Making a damn difference isn't easy, but doing nothing is hard. And the power of one more, we've done a whole podcast on it, is alive and well in the entrepreneur space. Just go make a damn difference and do more for others, and they'll do more for you.
Amen.
How can we find you?
On the World Wide Web at chrissys.com, CHRISSYS.com, on the corner of Sage and El Paseo in Palm Desert, or my cell phone, 760-883-7.
Okay. Any final thoughts?
Oh, and Instagram. I've got the best Instagram social media manager. Leela, yay.
Yeah.
Chrissy's on El Paseo on Instagram too. And that's a fun one because Leela does such a good job with our social media.
Say your Instagram one more time.
Chrissy's on El Paseo.
Okay. Any final thoughts for you?
No, just thank you guys so much for having me and congratulations on getting to 165. I did look up those stats and it is between 4 and 7.5% of podcasts even make it beyond 100 shows. So congratulations to you guys. It is, but when you said that in another podcast, I'm like, I need to look up those stats.
Yeah.
What is the number? It is kind of crazy. Yeah, less than 20% make it past episode 10, but over 100 is minuscule. So congratulations to both of you on Old Guys Still Rock. Wasn't sure. I'm sure April thinks the same thing. Where is this thing going? Why are you spending so much money on microphone? Mama needs a new bathroom. Why do we have sound mixers? But I love it. I'm super happy for you guys. And so congratulations. And more importantly, I love that because you are so far away from each other physically, what this does for your friendship. It's really special to watch. It's special to see men's friendships, and then having Jackson a part of it has just really elevated you to the next level. It was really fun doing that pre-interview with him. So I'm really excited for where you guys are doing and where you're.
Thank you. Yeah. Prop us up.
All right. All right, guys, that's it. We got a little bit long today, but it was really important to kind of really, as I said, if you guys are kind of, I love to be in a podcast, but I'm a fear speaker. Remember, this girl has massive anxiety to get on here, and we're speaking to hundreds, if not thousands of different people on here. But again, if you are stuck in a rut, if you're stuck just somehow and you need any assistance, obviously reach out to us. You can leave a comment in any of our social media feeds, or we want to assist you. We want to enhance you. If you have a business that you're struggling with and need some help and you're not afraid to share it on here, come on here. We'll figure that out. That's really it for us. Thank you again for coming in. Thank you for being my wife of almost 10 years. We're getting close to 10 years.
We are getting close to 10 years.
So I love that. We just celebrated 9 in March, but I'm looking forward to that 10th year. We're about to go spend some time in Maui together. First time ever by ourselves. Great. But until we see each other next time, everyone, stay safe, but most of all, God bless. Take care.